So, at the current pace of how fast we are releasing videos, I realized one thing. We're going without a script. I mean, making videos without a script is the dream of every YouTuber, right? But
Yeah, including mine.
lately, it just so happens to be that every time I blink, there is a new topic to talk about. I literally just finished Genshin. You can't do this to me again. You know what? Yeah, they can. Because at this point, Hoyoverse really earned my trust. So,
Mine too.
why don't we talk about the best and I believe the most underappreciated part of Genshin? Now, the last time I talked about this game, I had only 30 hours in the game and I was making more of a first impression review. Currently, I am sitting at well over 600 hours. I have
That's
about
pretty
100
insane.
hours streamed.
Like, I've definitely played more than that, but like, because I've been playing for 2 whole years. But the thing is, like, 600 hours in 3 months? Yeah, that's a lot.
And I definitely played at least 5 times that amount off stream. But unfortunately, there is no official way to track the numbers. And that is all in just the last 3 months or so. And yeah, in case you don't know, I somehow kinda created 2 audiences for me. There is my League audience on YouTube, but on Twitch I actually have a totally separate segment, which is my Genshin audience. And now I'm just trying to bleed the two sides into each other, so here we are! If we want to talk
Smart.
about why Genshin is a great live service game, let's first talk about what Genshin does well. Genshin is a very simple and easy game. The point
True.
of everything is really to just consume the story. You can look for challenges and you can try hard, but if you try hard, you just speed up the
Yeah, so as the story goes, like, I definitely agree with him. It's like the interesting, like, the way I mostly consume the story is just like, yeah, when I play, I usually skip through all the cutscenes and dialogue because I just cannot be bothered to watch all that when I play and get all the rewards and such. But then I still come back and look for and watch the story through other people's streams. Like, I'm watching Necrit because, yeah, I really like his content right now, so yeah.
the gameplay, that's kinda the reward. But I would argue that in general, Genshin is actually the pinnacle of casual gaming. You can log
True.
in, do your daily quests, spend your resources and just log out in like 15 minutes and be happy. And if you don't do your dailies and you just don't wanna play, then who cares?
Yeah, I really like that. I haven't been playing Genshin for a few days now, so but I also don't feel any pressure to play every day, which is a great thing about the game, definitely.
This is such a nice change of mindset from all the other live services. So already, somehow, Genshin is a step ahead with the fact that it is a great casual game. But the story is also really good. Now, I have to mention that while some of the latest stories that came out are some of the best narrative I have ever seen in any game, the early content definitely had some rough edges. Without spoiling anything for all the people who have never played Genshin, it's not that the story in the early patches would be bad, it's just that the pacing was awful. There were times where you were doing
That's the good thing about skipping story. I don't remember any of the bad parts because I skipped through all them and, well, the good parts were good enough to remember, right? So, yeah.
axis for 6 hours before you got to the strong point in the story. Now the strong point was really good, but god damn, sometimes the story can drag a lot. But thankfully they learned from their past mistakes and these days the stories are simple.
Okay. Oh, that's an interesting chat. What's that? Yeah. How am I supposed to ban that? It's a bot, right? Wait a minute. Yeah. He's banned. So let's continue.
Simply really good. And there is a good reason why Hoyoverse is focusing on good story first. Of course, in any video game, gameplay is king, and I can easily say that Genshin's combat is one of the best combat systems I have ever played. So when you then slap a good story on top of it,
I haven't played that many games, but I really do like the Genshin combat system. Besides the fact that it's quite about the artifacts. But like my point of reference about the combat is really mostly just shooters like Star Wars Battlefront or Minecraft, so I don't exactly have that many points of references for Genshin's combat. But yeah, I still really like it.
suddenly you have a world that feels alive. Over the years you can see how it is developing, and suddenly, with a good story behind the characters, you also start connecting with the characters. And keeping you engaged in this kind of stuff is really good for gacha games. Because
True,
the more you like
absolutely
certain
true.
characters, the more likely you
Oh,
are
hey,
to
I haven't
pull
seen
for
her.
them. So, in order to
Who's
keep
that?
everyone hooked on the ever-developing world, Genshin gets a story update every month. Every month there is a major patch that adds...
Is that true? Has there been like story quests in every single patch? Like, because I haven't been following it that closely, really. Would be interesting to know.
adds in new story quests for major characters. On top of that, you usually also get an Archon quest, which pushes the main story forward. But also, roughly every 3 to 4 months, there is also a new sub-region, which usually gives you a new chunk of land to explore, but it also gives you new mechanics that help you explore that area. Again, I don't want to spoil much, but yes, nearly every region has a new way of exploration.
That's absolutely
and then, of course,
true.
roughly every year, there is a whole new region, which comes with bunch of new stories, new exploration, stuff like that. Now, while as I'm explaining this formula may sound just fine, in reality, this formula for a live service game is so powerful that other games are now trying to copy it. For example, Diablo 4 was confirmed to also have monthly updated
That's
stories.
interesting.
Because with these kinds of updates, you can really
Is
turn
that
your...
really like copying Genshin? I mean, can you copy an update schedule besides just doing it really well?
Game into a live service with a growing world. Now, I don't know if Genshin was the first game that really tried to push for this style of quick
Probably
story
not.
updates. Because previously, as far as I know, in other games you usually had a bunch of big stories every expansion pack. But the quick short stories weren't really a thing. Needless to say, if you want to prove that it really works, just look at how other games are trying to copy what Genshin does. I mean, I have a long history of covering the lore of League of Legends, which to this day I still believe is one of the most beautiful universes I have ever encountered.
I've never well, I have played League
But
like once.
we haven't seen a new story for this universe since October last year. Yeah, that's really the main reason why I'm kind of like exploring other games now. But you know, a good story wouldn't really be enough
Is
for a
that
live
true?
service game to keep people engaged. A story can be as good as it wants to be, but without good gameplay, nobody will be there to experience
Definitely
it.
agree.
Which is where Hoyoverse really shows their passion. Because on top of rolling out the monthly stories, they also have weekly events. And these can be anything from a tiny story to a combat arena.
Yeah, this was great. It's Taromaru.
Where you get to try different characters with different power-ups and under special circumstances. These are essentially special game modes.
I mean, the thing with this this particular event, I remember it was really easy. Like, I just put, well, maybe that's probably a good thing because I could do it like really fast. Like, I just put the score multiplier to 4 times and then got all the rewards at once because, yeah, I couldn't be bothered to do all the levels and shit.
Again, a great way to tease people into pulling for a character if they like them in combat. But these can also be massive events with games within games. I can't believe that one day
Yeah.
I just logged into Genshin and I just played on the same day Guitar Hero, Pac-Man, and really weird Pokemon Snap.
Honestly, the music events are like the best. I love them. Like, if I could play that, like, I don't know, every day on my phone, that would be pretty cool.
And on the next bigger event, I just played an auto-battler inside Genshin. They just casually made TFT and then let it go 2 weeks
Never
later.
played TFT.
And apparently, I missed a lot of these events by not playing in the last 3 years. I was told they also made Prop Hunt, racing games, Flappy Birds, and God knows what.
I don't actually remember Flappy Bird. Like, I mean, I have taken some breaks from Genshin, but I still don't remember there was a Flappy Bird one. But I do remember this one.
I have honestly never seen this level of passion be put into a game.
Me neither.
And it's a gacha game. They are supposed to be weird and shady.
Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, I've seen that people who have been playing Genshin for a very long time got spoiled by how good their events are. Apparently, when the auto battler came out, people were like,
yeah, they said it was mid. I thought it was okay.
yeah, it's fine. Alright, back to farming artifacts. Like, it seems like the veteran players
That's the
got
eternal
numb
grind.
to how awesome it is to have these rotating game modes in your main game. Meanwhile, I come from League. Yes, the last time we got a game mode that wasn't a recycle of an old one was, I believe, 2 years ago. I know it's a bit unfair to compare League to Hoyoverse. And Riot is also currently struggling with people leaving after COVID took its toll. But you know what?
Go for games.
Yeah, we can compare them. It seems like this is what happened to League for focusing on the competitive play for so long, while kinda ignoring their casual players who still make the majority of their players. And yeah, sometimes you need a little bit of a slap to pick yourself back up. I wish League would have the same live service updates that Genshin has. I genuinely wish for that. Actually, super quickly, there is one more thing that I almost forgot to mention. Even though Genshin has...
I never cared about League. Like, I haven't even watched Arcane yet, which I probably should, but like, oh my god.
Has little to no real endgame. They have the Spiral Abyss, which is essentially a roguelike for your max level characters where you just go and kill some bosses. But every 2 weeks they actually rotate all the enemies on all the endgame floors. And sometimes they introduce new enemies into this roguelike which you can't find anywhere else in.
Yeah. He isn't in any other place in the game, right? Like, I just realized this because there were quite a few enemies like in the abyss, like the illuminated beasts, or I think that's what they're called. Like, so there were quite a few enemies that I have encountered in the abyss for the first time, and that was the first time that I have seen them in the game. But then I found them in the overworld, and yeah, they were there, right? But yeah, this guy has never shown up apparently
In the game.
Anywhere.
So even if you don't care about any of the minigames and you just wanna fight and you don't even care about the story, they still update that as well. So yeah, I just quickly wanted to mention that even without a real endgame, they are still updating the endgame. On top of that, Honkai Star Rail just released, and I'm kinda happy to be there
Yeah,
with
there's
the
gonna be
initial wave
quite
of
a
new
bit to do.
players. Because after learning what they can do, I definitely don't wanna miss out on what Hoyoverse can do. I missed a lot by not playing Genshin. And I don't want that to happen again. Some people laugh that I am currently on my gacha game story arc. So yeah. See you on the Astral Express.
See you there.
There's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, so besides that, they also have the Zenless Zone Zero, right? And I think they also had an unannounced shooter, but that was cancelled, wasn't it? I'm not sure. So Zenless Zone Zero looks fun. We'll be looking forward to playing that. And yeah, it's a good video. I agree with pretty much all he said. I mean, I'm also biased. I love the game, so, and I'm glad apparently he likes the game too. So yeah.